Hello fellow gamers, welcome back to another episode of the Hunting Guide. You are here with Kelldal and we are moving through Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate and hunting the various large monsters that you can find throughout this game. And so this time we are hunting Barroth, which is a large brute wyvern that is most commonly fought on the sandy plains. So let's go ahead and take a look at its information on the website. Alright, Barroth. Barroth usually remains beneath the mud, perhaps to shield themselves from heat. They are even known to attack by flinging mud. They will charge in a frenzy at anything that disturbs their bogs. So here is a look at their damage chart. So unlike a lot of the other large monsters, its head is actually pretty well protected. So you can see it's only 22 and 25 for damage on the head, but its front legs, back legs, and its body are some of its weakest areas, and also its tail, which is kind of backwards for a lot of the monsters. But you know, this game kind of likes to switch it up a little bit, and you'll notice when we end up seeing him in game why that is. So it actually kind of makes a lot of sense. So looking at the resistances here, so you'll notice there's a lot of slashes. So the numbers before the slashes, that is when it has mud on it. So this monster will bury itself in the mud, as the flavor text mentioned, and then he'll kind of be caked in it as like an armor. So the numbers before the slashes are resistances when he has the mud on, and then after the slashes is when you knock it off after doing a certain amount of damage to it. So when he has the mud on him, he is actually kind of immune to fire damage. And then when it gets knocked off, he's weak to it, and then vice versa for water. So when he has the mud on, he's weak to fire, to water, and then immune to water after it's knocked off. So it's kind of an interesting mechanism here. You can't just go in with a water weapon and expect that you're getting that extra damage all the time, because as soon as you knock off that mud, you actually kind of lose that advantage. Thunder, just on its body part. Other than that, it's pretty much, doesn't affect him. Ice, it's pretty much across the board, other than on the body. It's 30 and 0. So ice is kind of a good medium to use, if you want to kind of go on the middle, as opposed to fire or water where, it's only going to be either or. And then dragon a little bit as well. Take a look at his tolerances. So pretty tolerant to getting the dizzy effect, and then not so much for paralyzation and sleep. So here you can see sandy plains, really the only place you're going to find him. You will find him out on the deserted islands in nighttime, I believe. So that's just Moga Woods. It's not for the main quests or anything like that, I don't believe. But you're only going to see him really in sandy plains. Sizes. Here are the carving areas. So the body carves. The tail, you can chop off his tail as well. And you can also chop off his ridge, or not really chop off, but knock off his ridge that's around his head. And hopefully I'll end up showing you that as well. If you want to cut the tail off, you're going to need to bring a slicing weapon. If you want to knock his ridge off of his head, then you're probably going to need a blunt weapon. So if you need to get those both those items, you're going to need to bring the appropriate weapon to do that. Capture the wound. So you can wound his front legs. And he's got some shiny drops as well. Fertile mud is, I believe this is the only place that you can get fertile mud is from a Barroth. So that's the mud that he kind of flings off, and you can get it as a shiny drop. You can also get it as a quest reward, I believe, for wounding and some other stuff. Yeah, for capturing, you can get some of that fertile mud as well. And there's his quest appearances. All right. Alright, so the weapon that I'm going to be bringing with me today is my Barbarian Blade. So it's a little bit overpowered for Barroth in the low-ranking missions. It is a water damage blade. You can take a look at that. So it does do water damage. You'll actually get the Barbarian Blade for free at a certain point throughout the story quests and stuff like that. So you will end up seeing this if you're progressing through the main storyline, and then you can end up using it. It does water damage. You can upgrade it from there. But this is what it'll look like when you first get it. So it's a pretty good blade, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it with me because Barroth is weak to water when he's got that mud on him. He's going to start out with the mud on him, so I'm going to go ahead and start out with water rather than bringing a fire weapon and working up to that point. Same armor set as I've been using, so I've got that auto tracker and all of that with me. Doesn't really matter on the resistances. He doesn't do any attacks that do elemental damage. He does inflict a muddy effect, which we'll end up seeing during the game, but that's not too big of a deal. I'll go ahead and get this one. Alright, so I got Polisher. Often speeds up sharpening time, so I went ahead and got that. So if I need to sharpen my blade, I can increase the time that I need to do that. Probably going to need to do that with Barroth. He's pretty well defended. I expect my blade to end up losing some of its sharpness multiple times throughout this fight. And then boost under resistance doesn't even matter, but you know, I negated that negative that I had on me. So hey, that's always nice. Alright. Again, talk to the Veggie Elder, like I do at the beginning of each mission here in the Sandy Plains. Only got a couple items from him. Oh well. Let's pick up this stuff. So I usually don't bring anything extra with me when I go up against Barroth. Don't really need it. There's those water shots that it gives you, kind of a hint that he's weak to water. And these cleansers right here helps you remove any ice or mud on your body. So these items, you'll end up seeing that muddy effect, I am sure. I'll see if I can get hit with some mud so that way you can see what that looks like. You can bring sonic bombs if you wish. And those are kind of useful in the beginning. So he'll be buried in the mud over in Area 3. And you can toss those sonic bombs out to basically knock him out of that area and kind of disorient him a little bit in the beginning. I usually don't end up doing it ever. I don't really need it. But if you want to do that, looks like he's actually out right now. Alright, so here's Barroth. And you'll see as he does his roar right here. So this is the first monster that you're going to come across that has a deafening roar. So you kind of flinch there. And it can be kind of annoying because you can be, you know, in the middle of trying to get a combo off or something like that. And it ends up stopping you for that. Alright, so here he's shaking the mud off his body. So let's see if I can get hit by one of these mud balls right here. Alright, so there we go. So this is what it looks like when you get mud stuck on you. So you can see I'm running, you know, moving really slowly. I can run a little bit, and I don't lose stamina when this is happening. And then eventually I'll end up breaking myself out over time. So it's a lot easier to get hit by them. You can also dodge during this time, but you just want to be really careful. So you can see Cha-Cha is going to try and break me out here, I think. Come on, Cha-Cha. No? There we go. Here we go. Alright, so Cha-Cha can help you out. If you're playing multiplayer, your friends can help you out as well. So you can run up, you can do the kick, and that's going to help get him out. So the safest place to be during this time is basically right between his legs, or right kind of over here by his tail. That's where the least amount of mud balls end up going. Most of the mud balls are going to be kind of falling around his head and front area. And so it's a good spot to get some good hits off because he's standing still during that time, not really doing anything. So here's his front charge right there. You want it keep a lookout. So you see how his tail slides to the side there. So you can dodge to the side, but if he's at the end and then all of a sudden you move to his side right here, just like that, his tail's going to walk around, and if you're in the wrong spot, that can end up smacking you pretty hard, or interrupting, you know, something like that. So here he's putting on more mud. Good time to run up and hit his body when he's rolling around in the mud like that. He's got the dual tail swipe like most other monsters do. You can be right in between his legs and still be hitting him in one of his weaker spots, and completely avoid that tail swipe. So it's a pretty good spot to be when you're fighting Barroth, right between his legs. Being in front of him isn't very smart because he's got those charge attacks. As you can see, my weapon bounces off that ridge quite a lot. I'll show you right here. So I go up and trying to hit his face, and it's just sitting there and bouncing off back and forth. Not really doing anything to him. And he can do quite a bit of damage. So staying behind him, staying in his tail section, between his legs, that's going to be a good spot for you to be. Alright, go up. See if I can hit his tail a couple times. No. So his tail's actually pretty hard to get to because it sits so high up. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why they end up making it one of his weaker points. Because unlike some of the other monsters that you fight at this point, his tail is actually kind of hard to get to. Alright, so there I've knocked the mud off of his tail. So at this point, hitting him in the tail section with this sword isn't going to be doing the extra damage like it has been. But it's good to get that mud knocked off because that's going to make it a lot easier to cut that tail off to get that carve. Alright, so as you noticed, when Barroth moves from area to area, he digs down into the ground and then moves. You can actually track which way he goes if you don't have a paintball or tracking on him. So he went to area 4 right now. So if I was paying more close attention, you can actually see kind of little puffs of smoke kind of pop up, and it'll go off in a trail in the direction that he ends up heading. So if you didn't get a paintball on him and he ends up moving, look for those puffs moving from where he ended up digging into the ground and to one of the zone lines, and that way you can get the direction that he ends up going. So he was probably recovering some stamina. He likes to eat the bugs, the allotroth guys over there. So he'll go over to that mound that's in this area and end up eating over there. Let's see if I can get my weapon charged up. There we go. Let's keep going off the tail and try and cut that off. Run up to him. See if I can take this off. Alright, so I knocked him down, did enough damage to him. So run up here, good chance to get some nice shots on his tail here. Just keep doing that combo. And there we go, cut the tail off. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple other shots off on him. So he's shaking some mud off. You may notice there's not as much mud coming off of him, so when you start breaking off more and more mud off of his body, less mud balls are actually going to break off when he is doing that shake. He will still do it fairly often, even though there's not as much mud on him. So the more mud you break off, and the more he does that, the more chances you're going to get to do quite a bit of damage to him. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and run over and get that shiny before it disappears. Alright, got a wyvern tier. Get me some extra money. Alright, so at this point, now that I've got his tail off, I'm probably going to end up just wailing on his front arms right there, or his body. That's where I'm going to be doing the most damage. There we go. Quite a few hits there. Ended up knocking another shiny off of him. And looks like just about all that mud is off of him now. So he's probably not going to do the shaking anymore, since all the mud's off. Knocking him down. Got my weapon fully charged on him. So I am doing quite a bit of damage to him right now. And it looks like, yep, now he is limping away, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this shiny. Got another wyvern tier. He's going to dig down. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look, and so that way you can see the puffs going off to the side. So there you can see it. He's going back to Area 3. Alright, so let's get that tail carved. Got a Barroth tail. And let's go finish him off in Area 3 while my weapon is still fully charged. Alright, so he's going to sleep now. So normally you'd want to run up right onto the head area and wail on him as much as possible. Barroth's a little bit different, so I'm going to come around the side here. Get right between his head and his legs, so he's got his arms right there, and that's where I'm going to hit him. Alright. Staying right in between his legs, got a couple nice hits off on him. He's going to roar, mess up my combo. Roll off to the side there and get back in. Alright, so he's rolling down, so he's putting that mud back on his body, so I'm going to try and get my combo off while he's doing that. There we go. Knock him down in the process, run back up to him, and see if I can finish him off. There we go. Cake. And let's grab my body carves. So that's the Barroth fight. I'll also show you what it looks like to break his ridge off, so that way you can get an idea of what that is. So we'll take a look at that next, and then we'll finish up the episode. Here's what it looks like with him swimming under the mud right here. And he bursts out. Alright, so let's start wailing on his head. There we go. And we've broken his ridge off, so you can see how it's broken there. And it's down here, it's carvable. And you can pick it up just like that. And get a Barroth Ridge. And then you can finish them off just like normal. Alright, so that is the Barroth fight, so thanks for watching guys, and we will catch you on another hunt. See you later.